Hi, everyone. This is Michael Silvers with Power Team. We're going to start just in about 3.5 minutes. Wanted to welcome everybody to the call tonight. Again, if you have any questions or any comments that you'd like to make about what you'd like to learn or questions regarding what Bill talks about, you can just post them in the chat section. That would be fantastic. And we're very excited to have all of you on and to have a great day. Hey, Daniel, how are you? Sometimes there's actually a little delay in the mic or sometimes in the setting itself. So good to have you on the call tonight. We'll get going. I learned a little trick with these, actually. I was talking to somebody today, and actually they tucked it in their shirt. It actually looks pretty cool, but these are okay, actually. A lot of people are using them now, and we all know we're at home, and we're revamping our businesses and creating these, a virtual move and really helping other people experience from learning, education, and anything we can do. So we'll get going in just in about now 2.5 minutes. Again, this is Michael Silvers with Power Team. Can't wait to have you all on. Hey, Stacy, how are you? Welcome, Kimberly. Oh, glad you could join us. That's fantastic. And if everybody just wants to say where they're from too, that would be great. It's always good to see where people are calling in from. It's the community, really having a community and creating answering your questions. It's awesome just to have you all on. We'll get going in just about 2 minutes or less. 2 minutes or less. So again, if you guys would like to just type where you're from, that would be great. An area, a country, whatever you're comfortable with, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Stacy. I'm glad you're doing good. That's awesome. It is really a great day. And also tomorrow, just to let everybody know, we actually have a summit tomorrow. Orlando, fantastic. Dallas, great. Dallas Fort Worth lockdown. That's pretty funny. So we have a summit tomorrow. And again, it's our typical summit. So you can go to successummit360.com and it will let you know who's on, and you can register for it. And we're really excited to have just a great, powerful day. So, and we'll keep it to the point where we'll help you with your questions, anything you need to do. Just talk a little bit about what's going on in the world, do some prayers, and just have a great day. All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. We're going to get started here in just about a minute. I don't know, 1 to 10, how's everybody doing out there again? Are you staying at home? And if you're an essential worker, we truly appreciate what you're doing and just helping create safety and everything that you do when you go to work every day. And we say prayers for all of you and thank you for what you're doing. We're going to get started here in just about a minute. We'll have Mr. Bill Walsh jumping on. And again, tonight's going to be about the speaker world and what's going on there and really being an entrepreneur and how's it all work. So get ready to take a lot of notes. A 10, fantastic, Jamie. Hey, Jamie, how are you? It's about creating that vision and keeping clear. How many people can I help along the way? Because it's always being about of service. And then we go from 8+. Great, Stacy. And we'll get started in just about a minute. We'll let everybody again just jump on here. I'm going to send one quick email as an invite. There we go. All right, everyone. Part of what we're doing is we're waiting for people to get on. We know it's post-dinner. A lot of people are home. So they're finishing up dinner. They're getting on. And then again, our amazing CEO will be on in just a minute or two. So, but what are you going to do with this time? If we'll have a quick little discussion as you're at home. And again, if you're working, fantastic. You're with your kids, you're with your family. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're having to use Zoom, which has been it's a great tool for us to stay in contact. Your phone, pick up and call somebody you have. And I had somebody say that today again, and we've heard that over and over. That just pick up your phone and call somebody you haven't in a while. What do you do with your daily business? Do you use prayer? Do you meditate? Hi, Chelsea. What is it that you do for a daily routine? And we talked about this on Monday. Is what is that daily routine? How does that daily routine look? And we'll be continuing that that sequence of calls of what is that next step? How do we create that in our lives? What is it that we're going to do? In a moment, Bill will be jumping on and he'll be taking over from that point. But if any of you are on, here he goes. But again, remember, take a look at what you're doing every day, and we'll continue those conversations as we build onto it. All right, fantastic. Well, I'd like to introduce our not our speaker, but mentor, friend, business partner. He is literally great, Kimberly. That's awesome. And you guys can talk about also what you do, and Bill will also look at those too as he gets on. So ready for a great evening. It's going to be powerful. We already talked about where you're going to go with this. Really look at your life from a speaker, from training, from being an entrepreneur. How does it all fit together? How does it look virtually right now? And being excited for the future of everything that you create, but the people that you can make a difference for. This next gentleman is a mentor, is an entrepreneur, has been since probably the day he was born. He's the CEO of Power Team, and he's going to bring tremendous content to you. Let's give it up. A big, huge, thunderous round of applause for Mr. Bill Walsh.
Hey, how's everyone doing tonight? Michael, thanks for being on. I'm so not tech savvy that I was on the wrong broadcast, and there was people on the wrong broadcast. I can't believe it. I don't know what they were doing, but they were plugged into the broadcast. We didn't even start yet. Kind of crazy. Can you hear me okay there?
Perfect.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And tonight, really, as I said earlier, I think it'd be a lot of fun as you're listening tonight that we do some question and answer. I've got a couple people coming on later tonight, but I know so often as a speaker, I'm going to give you a few things you have to work on right away, but I'd also like to make this an open dialogue where, if you'd like to ask a question. Hi, Jeannie. Good to see you on the broadcast. Welcome, of course. Welcome, Jeannie. Yeah. So, if you've got a question, just type your question in the little Facebook box that's down there. I know this is also streaming through my personal live channel, so we've got 5 different streams going on at the same time. We're still really working this whole digital thing because for the last 15 years, we've been a live event company. So you talk about having to change on a dime, and that's what we did, is that we literally moved within 2.5 weeks from doing 400 plus live events a year to almost 200 digital events this year. And that does not come easy, right? Because once again, we have setups and teams and convention halls and all kinds of crazy stuff that was already all preset for the whole year. We've had to move all that around. So it's important tonight is that I'd like to open up and let you guys ask whatever question you want about public speaking. And then I'll talk about some of the things you've got to get over right away, and give you some insight on what you have to get over, but also how to understand that we're moving from a live to a digital world. And it really shouldn't affect you very much if you'll just do some basic things to get set up. Welcome, Greg. I see Greg on the line there today, and I see some other folks that are making some comments. Great. Kimberly, you got 2 business models. My consulting marketing business got killed. No business all events later, June or later. I have an idea of transition, but it feels selfish. We can help you with that, Kimberly. Make sure that you get a call set up. Either text Michael or text myself, and we'll get a call set up. But I will tell you tonight that I'm looking for those speakers that would like to learn to speak and sell from stage. Whether it's a virtual stage or a live stage doesn't really matter to me. But if you really have a talent that you're great at for more than 3 years, I'm going to give you a couple text opt-ins that you can go through. And I'd like to have that conversation with you to figure out if we can actually work together. There's some ways we work together, because I can tell you this, that the minute some of this stuff passes, you're going to see stages start to rock. I do know there's been some really good news in the market the last couple days, and I hope it continues to be good news. but I will tell you that we are going through some very challenging times. Welcome, Daniel Meyer. Good to have you on. And once again, so if you got a question, it's okay. Just put your question. Hey, welcome, Irina. Good to have you on. It's important also you invite some guests. So you can just give them a link to my Facebook page. They can just go right to the Facebook page. They can watch it there. Facebook.com/Bill Walsh. I could type. I usually have some people handling this stuff, but I don't see where they're at. So if they're not here, you got to be ready. Hey, Albert, Corey, good to have you on. So once again, if you are just plugging in, definitely put your name in the box and tell us where you're calling in from or where you're listening from. We've got a lot of people on right now, which is great. So let's take some questions. What questions do you have about public speaking that I can work with you on tonight? It doesn't matter if the question's large or small. Just put in the text box. And while you're putting the text box, I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a discussion with you about how to get over the fear of public speaking. One of the biggest questions I get all the time is, Bill, I'm great at what I do. I'm just afraid to take the stage. I'm afraid to do broadcast live. I'm afraid of all this stuff. Well, I want you to think about the same fear you had when you first rode your bike. I promise you, the first time you rode your bike, for me anyway, I fell down. Second time I rode the bike, fell down again. Third time, maybe fourth time, I think my dad, he grabbed the back of the seat of the bicycle and he helped me ride the bike. And after a while, I got super easy, comfortable at riding the bike. Worry about succeeding. And I would highly recommend that, begin to think this through today, is that what would it look like for you to have massive success as a speaker, have quantum growth for your business, working from home, or begin to work on national stages? So to get over the fear, first of all, I want you to think this through for a moment. Before you ever take a stage again, or the first time you do, just know your content. So number one is know your content in your niche. So please write that down. Know your content in your niche. You do not have to be great at everything. You have to be great at what you know. Hey, Bert, Olivia, good to have you on. Thanks, Bert. Another rock star that does some incredible events also. Renee, good to have you on. Thanks for sharing this. Christopher, thanks for sharing this, guys. Welcome, you guys, from Vegas. I see people popping in from a couple different channels, and I appreciate that. But once again, number one thing to get over the fear of public speaking is do not take a stage unless you know information about the content you're going to share that day. Number two, this is a big one. Get a really good icebreaker. Make your icebreaker about gratitude. Always make your icebreaker about gratitude. Always want to thank the promoter, thank the people in the room, thank the people at the back tables, thank whoever made it possible for you to speak on that stage that day. The minute you come from a place of gratitude, the audience will feel it. And if they feel it, I promise you this, if they feel your gratitude right here, they're going to be more warmed up to your message, your story, and working with you. What most speakers never do is they never take the time to give credit to those that made it possible for them to be on that stage. And what they don't realize is they've just given up a key factor in how to effectively sell from that stage. See, if someone else made that stage possible for you, that audience probably does not know you. But the minute you connect and give thanks and praise to those that put the event on, for those sitting in the chairs, or for anyone that made it possible for you to be on that stage that day, the minute you do that, you build something called transference of trust. So write down transference of trust. Transference of trust is a game changer if you have a passion to speak on stages. If you don't leverage that little tip on transference of trust, hey, Casey, welcome, guys. Hey, Tom up in Minnesota, welcome. Good to have you on. Thanks again. Bert, once again, thanks again. I appreciate you guys for plugging in. Renee just launched a brand new program called Inner Spartan. His video is amazing. He'll be on one of our success summits coming up here shortly. And if you have a passion to speak on a summit, we're booking 15 to 20 speakers every week for our summits. So if you have a passion for that, put a number 1 in your comment box and my team will check it and they'll follow up with you. If you would like to give a 20-minute talk and maybe have a great product or service to share, let's see how we can work together. This is the time that you have to come together more now than you've ever done in your life. things. I think someone's tweaking with my camera maybe or something. I don't know. But I want you to really plug in at a deeper level. How else do I get over the fear? Now, here's another great tip on getting over the fear, right? And I'm going to type this in because I don't see anybody typing this stuff in for me. Just write this down and say this with me. Ask more questions. It is critically important that you ask more questions. And let me give you people say, well, what questions do I ask, Bill? What should I say? I don't know what to say, right? Well, the questions you can ask is, who's in the room? Figure out who's in the room right now. Figure out who's there with you. Because if you'll figure that out, right, it'll make your presentation even better for everyone that's there. So when I say this, I like to ask, how many own a business? How many are entrepreneurs? How many are students? How many have ever read these certain books? How many have been on vacations? How many vacations you take a year? There's a lot of questions you can ask to help you identify the audience, right? That sometimes we're afraid to ask, but if you'll just ask those questions, it makes your presentation even more powerful. So once again, when I talk about ask more questions, what I'm helping you understand is that if you'll just plug in these little add-ons to your talk, it'll get you over the fear of going through your message. And you've got to have this in a protocol. So there's a process to become even more effective from the stage. But part of that process is that you got to own the stage, which means that you can't go up there, I'm all nervous, and don't bring all your papers on the stage. You know, don't bring your PowerPoint to read your PowerPoint. If they can just read your presentation from the screen, please write this down. They don't need you. But you are an integral part that if you have a story, if you have a message, if you're great at something and you want to monetize it, let me tell you something. Don't take it to your grave. Don't wait to bring your brilliance to the marketplace. I believe that once again, you're way too good. You're way too good to play small. Hey, thanks, Eric Dooley. Good to have you on tonight, brother. Excited to be a part of your event at the end of May, and we're excited to have you speaking on our summit with Mr. Brian Tracy. So keep up the great work. So tomorrow we have a summit you can plug in and learn. And we've got the former Attorney General of the state of Nevada. We've got an infomercial rock star that sold $10 billion on TV to talk to you about how to make money from home. And we've got incredible 10 featured speakers, including my friend Ken Rashawn, that'll be on there talking about, you know, how to use imaging to grow your business, how to build great tribes. So you've got to get plugged in for these things that are happening. And I challenge you every day, follow up on one good ad online that can educate you in some part of your business. Never, ever, ever stop investing in your growth. But if you have a question, just ask your question. Put your question either on my personal page. I see Jamie. Welcome, Jamie. Welcome, James Burkell from Southern Indiana. Welcome, James Burkell. Congratulations, Irina, once again. Chelsea, thanks for jumping on. But if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask your question. If there's some part of the speaker world you need some help with, and of course, once again, you know, to get over your fear, I recommend you keep speaking. You're like, well, that sounds so basic. Well, it is so basic. So realize that Rotary has 30,000 events a year. Slowed down now, but they'll come back. Don't worry. You can do webinars. You can do telesummits. You can do Facebook Live, Instagram Live, live stream parties, easy webinar. There are so many things. We just finished one on telesummit. We did a telesummit across the country, and we had people log in from all over the United States. And these are all digital tools now. You can build a new product on Udemy. You know, just make 3 recordings for up to 30 minutes each, and you've got a new digital product. But you have to be willing to take the risk. And that's what I would tell you tonight is that be willing to take the risk. You know, hey, Patrick, good to have you on, brother. There you go, president of the Rotary. And Patrick, I'm sure you're looking for speakers, right? So one of the things that I teach a lot of our students is called 0 to 100. 0 to 100. The first 100 presentations you give are designed for you to not do so great. It's okay. But the first 100 are mandatory to become a great speaker. You see, what most people don't realize is that most of the great speakers you've learned from, they've done presentations thousands and thousands and thousands of times. You know, when you watch Jim Rohn videos, which I highly recommend, go to YouTube, type in Jim Rohn. Watch his videos, watch his mannerisms, watch how he connects with the audience, watch how he asks questions, right? Watch the framework, how he gives great content. There are so many great leaders that are speakers that you think, oh, the market's too crowded. Listen, everybody, choose a crowded market. Go into a place where it's already busy. Go into a place where you bring your dynamic, your incredible sense of urgency that they need help in your space, and watch events to digital all in less than 2.5 weeks. And I'll tell you this, it wasn't easy. We're moving a lot of things around. It took me some 18-hour days where I'm working all night long. But listen, that's part of success. So don't be so worried. Hey, Ramona, good to have you on. Thanks so much for jumping in today too. And I love to thank the people that take the time. But for you, the number one thing tonight, once again, we're going to talk about how to get over the fear. So you've got to go 0 to 100, right? So just write down somewhere 0 to 100. And if you would commit 0 to 100 presentations, just put in the little comment box down there that I would commit. Because if you're not willing to commit to 100 presentations, then you're not that serious about your speaking. And I only have time for those at our platinum level that are absolutely committed to their speaking. If you're not going to commit to bringing your greatness to the stage, then why are people going to listen? You got to work on it every day. And you don't got to work on your speaking. Your speaking works on itself just by getting out there and doing more and showing up more. I'm doing probably 3 to 5 webinars now a day. That's right, a day. Now, when I used to do that in the plane, we would have to stop and go to the next city, But now we can do it right away. Yeah, and that's right. Show up. Hi, Karis. Good to have you on. Thanks for plugging in. But I really do want to ask some of your questions, guys. So don't be afraid to ask a question. Eric, if you got a question, or Tom, or any of the guys that are on the stream here, just ask whatever question you want. Don't be afraid to ask your questions. I know some people sometimes they get on these live streams are afraid to ask questions. I don't want you to be afraid. This is an open forum. We don't charge you to be on here. I'm here to just help out. Now, once again, I think if you're going to go present and you want to get over the fear, you better pick a niche that you know. We teach every speaker, pick a niche, be great at your niche. Pick one area of expertise you're great at, and then bring that to the marketplace. So as we're going through this tonight, and I see a lot of folks on, if you think you might be a great fit to speak on national stages, Facebook Lives definitely count. Anytime you're speaking to more than 5 people, that's a group program, right? So you're trying to figure out, Patrick, the best platform. So there's many platforms. Let me give you guys a few platforms I like. I like Zoom, number one. I like the one we're on. It's called Streamyard. So let me just write a couple of these down for you guys. Streamyard. There's another one I heard about today called, I think it's Easy Webinar. There's another good one. Of course, I like Livestream. Livestream can turn you into your own commercial application. I really like something called IGTV. I like Facebook TV, right? I like Facebook Lives. There's so many new tools that are out there, and promise you, there's going to come more. There's one right now called Ring Central. Ring Central is now offering video broadcasting. You're going to find another one called WebEx. So WebEx is going to come out with much more affordable programs because they watched the stock of Zoom go up nearly $100 in less than a couple of weeks, right? All because of how things have changed. So when things change, you've got to change. You want things to get better, you've got to get better. I've done probably less than 20 streams before I did these live streams. Now I'm doing live streams every day. So as you begin to make the decision, hey, Stacy, welcome. As you begin to make the decision, right, and I do call it a decision to play bigger, you've got to be willing to step outside the comfort zone, right? And Eric, thanks for sharing this. Thanks for sharing this once again. Hey, Douglas, welcome. Thanks for being on here. We're looking for some of your messages. So if you would really love to be on some other stages as we get back to the live market, which we will, and you really are great at what you do, and it serves a lot of people, and there's money in your industry, I'd like you to just do this for me right now. Just text the word platinum. Text the word platinum to 26786 from your cell phone. Let me give it to you one more time, right? Just text the word platinum to 26786 from your cell phone. And we'll schedule some time to talk. It gives you a little bit of an overview of what we're working on. But I will tell you this, that I don't think the greatest speaker ever has even started speaking yet. I think the opportunities are greater now than they've ever been. And you're right, Karis, you've got to be willing to evolve, and you've got to be willing to go with the flow. And as the flow moves, you better move. Because if you're not moving, you're staying where you're at. And if you're staying where you're at, I promise you right now, you're getting buried. There's no time like right now to dive into some training. I built a simple war room at my house. I got a used projector. I bought a green screen from Amazon. I don't really even know how to use the green screen yet. I'm working on it, so it's okay, right? And you got to be able to laugh at yourself, right? See, if you're not willing to laugh at yourself, somebody else will. So if you're not willing to laugh at yourself, somebody else will. Daniel Gomez is on the stream. Another great, amazing speaker. He's now doing speaker training programs. He really teaches people how to get out of their shell and create way more success. Yeah, green screen training coming soon, no doubt. Kimberly, yeah, pivot. There's no doubt about pivot, but it's pivot, and this is a big one, everybody, pivot plus execution. The pivot by itself is not enough. To have the great idea by itself is not enough. The pivot with the execution is priceless. And what I'm really good at is helping someone that says, Bill, I'm great at this. How do we monetize it? How do I take my greatness? How can I work with you and your team to take my greatness and bring it to the national stage, bring it to local stages, bring it to the web? Yeah, so if you'll think about not just pivoting, but also pivot plus the execution. And of course, you're going to find that there's one word that is always your best friend or your worst friend. It's either your nightmare or it's your sunshine. And I just want you to write down the word habit. And habit is definitely your friend. So build a home routine the same way that if you were the CEO of your company and they were challenging you. Does that make sense? Create a sense of urgency around what it takes right now. So in the war room, all I really did, just so you know, is that I took 4 of those little tables and I made 6-foot tables, and I made a 12-foot by 6-foot table. I put a inexpensive old projector in the center of the table because I didn't have one here, and I shot on one of the walls. I bought a TV for $200 from Amazon, and I put that on with the cable so I could watch the business news. Do not focus on the regular news. Please don't. Focus on some business news. Focus on some things that are going well. Everything else you'll get from your mobile phone. But I need you to focus on learning from innovators. I like some of the specials on the History Channel about some of the founders of America and what they went through to get where they're at. These are great things for you to watch on a daily basis. But I will tell you this, that, if you've got a big path, hey, Martha, good to have you on. I see that. Once again, Cheryl, good to have you on. Albert Corey, once again, love you, brother. You're the best. But don't be afraid to ask your questions. Don't be afraid to get outside the comfort zone. And if you have a passion to speak and sell from stage, I see a number of folks have already opted in. Just put the number 1 in the comment box. Put the number 1 if you have a gift, you're great at something, and you want to sell from stage. That's what I'm looking for. But the theme tonight was about how to get over the fear, because this is a big challenge for a lot of people, right? They really know they have a good message. They know it's their time, but boy, they're not getting on that stage. So here's how I also like people to start. Greg Kirk, good to have you on. You'll be on national stages soon, brother. There's no doubt. It's only a matter of time. And I think, once again, Chelsea, same thing. I know you got a lot to deal with, right? And you got a lot going on always, but I love you and you stay the course. Casey Martin with a 0 to 100 speech says, when do you recommend adding in the service offered at the event? Well, let me tell you something. When's a good time to offer the service? You should offer the service before you walk on the stage. They should know before you get on stage whether it's a free consult. So when you speak at certain groups, right, maybe it's a Rotary, Latip, Chamber, don't just go there and try to sell stuff. Go there and give them some free stuff. When you text in the word platinum, you'll get free gifts from me for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Whether you ever do a transaction with us or not, you're going to get some great free content. Because I do believe that if you really want to be the best in your space, deliver great free content that people can use right now today. I mean, literally content they can use right now, and then make it available instantly for them to use. And then, of course, keep delivering. Because even though it might not be perfect for somebody right now, it might be perfect down the road. So once again, if you're not seeing that text over here, let me just add the text over here. So on this stream over here, sorry, we got multiple streams going. Text the word platinum 26786. If I could type, sometimes my typing is not so good either. From your cell phone. For our info pack. Hope I put that in there right. What I found a lot of times with speakers is that to get over the fear, I want you to write down this one word. And I know you might not like this one word, right? But this is what it takes. And it takes practice. It takes, if you have to set up a stream at your house and stream to your 5 friends, a couple days in a row till you start to get this thing down, maybe change the colors you wear, right? So use offsetting colors. Don't have like a black with a black, right? Have a black with a pink, right? So pick maybe Tuesdays, make it always pink, right? So always pick colors once again that go with the screen. Try to always look into the camera. So on your camera, you'll see a camera there. Always do your best. Don't look up to the left, because even though I have a 10-foot screen above me, when I look up like this, it looks like I'm looking away from the audience. So you want to be able to speak to people. So anytime you're on a stream, it's always powerful also that you can actually write notes. So you can literally take something like this, right, and put your notes on a postcard, because the difference on when you talk to an audience on a video is that you're talking to one person at a time. Even though you could have 1,000 on the stream, you are talking about one person at a time. Eric, the software is called Streamyard. Streamyard lets you broadcast to multiple social media channels, YouTube, as well as stream into your LinkedIn account. So it gives you a lot of great tools, all for a very affordable price. It was created by a couple of smart engineers. So really good stuff. So Streamyard works. And I'm still learning to make it work, right? We haven't exactly figured out how to make it work on our YouTube channels. It's in process, but it's okay. Every week and every time we do streams, we'll get better. We went from 400 roughly live events a year to none overnight, right? And we've now gone from 0 live streams to over 200 live streams this year alone that we've already put in the calendar every week. I don't care if there's 5 people here, 50 or 500, it doesn't matter. We're going to stream and give content and let people learn some more. So, I see a number of folks have opted in. Thank you. Michael Silvers is part of our team too. So if you ever want to launch and run local media events for us or local live masterminds, you can definitely connect with Michael. He's always open the calls up, finishing the calls. He'll host the Success Summit tomorrow. Maybe put the link on there for Success Summit tomorrow. You guys can all plug in tomorrow from noon Pacific till 6 Pacific. And we're looking for speakers every week. So if you have a passion, you're great at what you do, it serves a lot of people, please don't wait to send us your information. Get with us right away. Put your information down. Hey, Bill, I speak on this. And so many of us feel overwhelmed to our mindset. Thank you for speaking to our heart. Oh, I love that comment. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, and I know sometimes it's hard because right now we're going through a really difficult time. But I think during the most difficult of times, the people that are the most consistent and that are willing to look beyond the tough time. My friend told me a story years ago, and she said, when you're going through hell, man, you put your foot on the gas, not the brakes. So I need you to really focus on today that what does it look like beyond this, and how do you really become proficient today? And the only way I can recommend to do this is people are going to send you Facebook ads all the time for stuff, right? So look at the Facebook ads and figure out, are these areas that can make me better while I'm working from home? Is there new ways I can transform my services, products, consulting to where I can do a Zoom call? I can tell you that we have built some really cool stuff in short order that is moving people towards being able to go digital, because we're not going to slow down the digital after we go live. We'll continue to do as many digital events as we're doing right now, because I believe that digital and your persona over the web is the future. So I highly recommend that, to get over the fear of this, just make it a habit to do a morning stream. You can do a morning stream for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about this week. I'm going to talk about inspiration. And you can interview people for it. You can bring people on. You can share your own content. All entirely up to you. And I think, once again, as you're going through this, don't be afraid to get outside the comfort zone. 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week. If it's your own content, within 2 weeks, you built the content for your book. At just 10 minutes a day, 10 videos can become the content for your book. So I want you to begin to look for ways to elevate your place in the marketing world by bringing your brilliance to the stage. Because the only thing that live events really do, or these broadcast events, they give you the ability to go exponential versus making 100 phone calls in a day. I recommend also that everybody that's here, if you get a cool account, it's called Calendly, and I have nothing to do with the company, but I like this for beginning to really build out the perfect days. Begin to build perfect days today. Begin to structure what the day looks like, but make sure that every day, Monday to Friday, part of your daily method of operation, what we call your DMO, is one live stream about one topic. Or make the week a topic. Make a topic for the whole week. That's okay too. But once again, I think so often we don't know what to do, so we don't do anything. And once you start to freeze up, it's really hard to come out of that place. And that's why I tell everyone, once again, we've got Sharon Lecter. Hey, Sharon, if you could, it'd be great to bring you on the stream for a minute. Michael, could you invite Sharon to the stream? I think you've got her direct text or email, and just give her the code so she can jump in the speaker's room. But yeah, I mean, and the same thing. Look at a brilliant person like Sharon Lecter, best-selling author of all time. She's written so many books, Think and Grow Rich for Women. She's helped so many entrepreneurs, whether it's with the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where she partnered with Kiyosaki, or it's her even more important work is her work in really creating financial excellence models for every state, where for the first time ever in the state of Arizona, she helped them understand the power of, every kid needs to learn to balance a checkbook. So little bits of niches you can create that you're an expert in can become great content that you can bring to the world. And even though you think your message is not that great, I'm telling you right here tonight, it's that great. I've got friends that are launching commercials right now. They're doing video streams on how to build a garden. I was teasing my cousin. He put a post of how beautiful his front yard. And I said, well, I got a 10-acre yard. You can come over as soon as you want, right? And I said, if not, why don't you just have someone set up a video camera, shoot the videos how to build a perfect garden and charge $10 for it? He's like, man, I never thought of that, because once again, it looks so bad before you start. It looks so great afterwards. But if you can teach a how-to process, and I'm just going to tell you this right now, if you can teach a how-to process for anything from home, I'm typing fast, right? You will get paid. But there's an old saying that says, you don't have to be great to start, but you got to start to be great. And I would challenge you tonight that it's okay to fall down a bunch of times. I have failed so many times in my life. I've been laughed at, ridiculed. That's never going to work. You're dumb. You're stupid. But when you make $1 million at anything, those same negative people come back and say, oh, gosh, I knew you could do it. So you got to love some of the haters, guys. I mean, they're going to be out there. And as you grow your business, Oprah Winfrey said it best, if you don't got people shooting some arrows in your back, it means you're not doing very much. So it's okay. But you've got to be the one that really stays ahead of the curve. Thanks, Brenda. I appreciate all your hard work, too. You rock. So if you're just plugging in, once again, it's okay. I see we got more users on some of the private lines, but share this stuff, because this is information we all need. You've got to get over that fear of public speaking. To get over the fear of public speaking, I'm going to give you one really big word, too, that will change it for you, right? Is that you have to start. You have to start today. It's so easy to set up a YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, go to your Gmail account, set up your own YouTube channel. Go to, once again, something like Zoom or Facebook Live, whatever it's going to be. Some of these are all free. Set up a free account to begin streaming. And then just start with your little 10-minute interviews. If you don't know how to do interviews, go to something like Upwork or go to Power Team. Look up Daniel Meyer. I think he's on this stream. Daniel, if you're still on the stream, could you type in the text where they can get a virtual admin? Get a virtual admin tomorrow that's going to start making calls for you to let you learn and let them go out there and get you some media, get you some interviews, right? But to get over that fear, once again, it was really the theme of the call tonight, is that, you got to be bigger than the adversity you face. You got to be bigger than the fear. And if you're bigger than the fear, just understand this, opportunity will show up for you like it's never shown up before. We have never been busier. I've never been busier in all the years as I am right now. I literally start my day at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and whenever I wake up. I don't believe in alarm clocks, but as soon as you're up, you're rolling. And then, of course, once you're doing that, and thanks once again. Can we get Sharon a link or no, Michael? I guess you can't do that. You should be able to find a link in there. You can check off the thing and just go to it. Can you get her? I'll text you. I'll text you her number.
Yeah, I did email it to her.
Okay, Sharon. So he sent it over to you.
Yeah, there she is. She's on.
Brother, love you, man. Thanks for being on. There's Sharon. Hey, Sharon, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to bring you on.
I got to turn off my Facebook so you don't have the echo.
Yeah. Just mute your Facebook. So this was not planned, and I just want to say how much I love you and I appreciate you. This was not planned at all, but I seen you on the comment box, and I thought, wow, this would be great just to have you come in for a minute. And Matt Dooley, thanks, brother. I love you, man. And if you need someone, once again, to negotiate stuff for you, Matt Dooley is one of the best guys out there. He's also a speaker, trainer, coach out of Indiana. But Sharon, I would love for you to just take a couple minutes and comment about how you've innovated during these times and how you're now be able to impact and really probably change even more lives. So with that, I'll click it right over to you for a minute. Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Bill. Hello, everybody. I'm at my ranch, so my video quality may not be the best, but we do what we do at these times to support everybody. And I'm always, if I'm available and I see Bill's live, I'm going to listen to him because he's got an incredible wealth of knowledge and his heart is bigger than imaginable. So pay attention to him and sign up for anything he offers. But what we've done, Bill, a couple of years ago, I realized, majority of my profession has been through writing and speaking. I really didn't get into the online environment in a big way until about 2 years ago. And I realized that if I really was going to stay in this business, I needed to make sure that people could access me in the way that they were living, which was online. So we started doing some online programs and courses, and it's just been an incredible experience having the people really be able to access what they need when they need it, where they want it. And so it just allows us to reach so many more people. And what we've done in the last few weeks is we basically took a lot of our program to practically nothing so that people could have right now, fear either paralyzes you or motivates you. And many of us are paralyzed. And it's something that we want to hide under the covers. And just like you were saying, get out there and keep working, get up and keep going. The people are being comical and saying jokes about changing day pajamas for night pajamas. But there's something called hypnotic rhythm that is about when you start having bad habits and you keep repeating them, it's kind of hard to break them. So this is the time to start establishing good habits. And it's a perfect time to really dig deep and analyze your finances, to say, where am I and what can I change? What one thing can I do to adjust my financial future? Right now, historic low interest rates, all right? It might be a good time for you to look at your home mortgage and see if you can adjust it. If you are paying high interest on credit cards, stop it. Do whatever you need to do to get rid of that debt because it's only throwing you into a deeper hole. So it's really a time for you to not spring cleaning, but it's called financial cleaning. Use this time wisely to figure out what to do and what new economic engines can you create. And Bill was just talking about the support that his team is giving you. What economic engines can you use? Take what you know here, your greatest asset, and create new assets that you can make money from, but also impact more people. What a perfect time to write a book. That your experiences, we've all had things stop us in our tracks and we made it through. And what we've experienced in life can help others that are going through the same thing. And right now, we're kind of in the trifecta of fear, right? We have the fear of the virus, fear of the financial collapse, and fear of being alone. And it's so important that we say, all right, we're all in that same boat, but what are we going to do? Am I going to be one who kind of curls up on the couch and vegetates and gets bad habits? Or am I going to be the one out there proactively taking action? Just like Bill was talking about those morning streams. I've been working harder in the last 2 weeks than I have in years, just because I want to be able to share and support people getting through this and understand that you're not alone. But will you be there ready to really capitalize on the upswing? Don't be be on the wave. Don't be underneath and capsized by the wave. And now is the time to do that. And there's so many resources, but also before I leave you, make sure you know who you're listening to. It's so important because now a lot of people are out there trying to sell things. Be smart. Do your due diligence. Make sure you're listening to people who have been where you want to go and are speaking from a position of success, not trying to sell you something just because it's something to sell.
Hey, Sharon, by any chance, do you have a copy? Do you have a copy of the book handy there, the Outwitting the Devil book somewhere?
I do.
Just 2
seconds.
Can you show that book real quick? I will tell you, the book she's going to share with you was a game changer for me. I bought the book at an event that Sharon was at, or she gave me the book. Maybe she might have given me the book, autograph, which was priceless. I got on the plane. I could not. Yep. I could not put the book down, you guys, just so you know. That's how good this book is. And this book is so, yeah, could you share a little bit more about the book? We've got time. I think we're getting more people to log in right now, so this is great. I'd like for you to just share about how powerful the book was for you and you being a part of Outwitting the Devil. And I know this is kind of a shift to what we were talking about tonight, but I hope you guys love this, and I hope this really gives you some more value. So, and if you got some friends, this is a great time to do a stream party or invite some folks on this right now, because this will be over in about 20, 30 minutes. We're running a few minutes late, but I think not late, but I just wanted to make sure that if you got some folks, add them on. But Sharon, if you could talk about a little bit about this book and why this was such an important project for you, but also what you learned from being a part of it.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you, Bill. Outwitting the Devil was written as the sequel to Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, because he realized after 25 years of writing Think and Grow Rich that even though people know what they're supposed to do to become successful, they don't do it. Does anybody feel uncomfortable with that statement? Yeah, me too. And so he added that last chapter, The Ghosts of Fear, on Think and Grow Rich, but he realized he needed to go deeper, because he said, here I am, I'm the guardian of this thesis of success, and I myself haven't applied it appropriately. And so in a few short months, he wrote Outwitting the Devil. And today he would have used the word download, but back then he basically felt that the book was delivered to him. And this book scared his wife to death because of the title. She worked for the Presbyterian College and she was afraid she'd lose her job. So she forbid it to be published. And he died in 1970. She died in 84. Her sister had the book until in the early 2000s, and it was turned over to the foundation. The month I published 3 Feet from Gold with the foundation, Don Green called me and said, I have this manuscript that I need your advice on. I ran away to San Diego to read it because it literally was typed on a typewriter and had handwritten notes from Napoleon Hill. Unbelievable experience. What an incredible honor. I felt like I was in a conversation with Napoleon Hill. And this book he takes on every taboo in society: sex, religion, politics, education, alcohol, cigarettes. Before anybody knew cigarettes were bad for you, he did. It's amazing the things he talks about. And it really hits home, makes you realize that at a very young age, things are getting planted in your brain that impact you severely as adults. So for instance, he talks about religion. He says, did you learn your religion through faith, or did you learn your religion through fear? Well, that impacted me tremendously because I practically lived at the Southern Baptist Church. And of course, my minister was fire and brimstone and total fear. I just knew I was going to go to hell if I smiled. But yet my youth minister in the same church taught me the love of God and live, religion through faith. So it really hit home and I understood it. Same thing with money. All right. As a kid, you're taught fear about money. We're never going to have enough. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so it's really important that we analyze where these fears came from as children, and we can start releasing them. And the book gives you a 7-step process to get through this. But on page 61, Bill, it talks about the devil, just explains how he controls people. And he talks about the various forms of fear. And as part of that, he says here it is, the 6 most effective fears are the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. And then he's asked, which do you use the most often? He says, the first and the last, poverty and death. At one time or another during life, I tighten my grip on all people through one or both of these. What is happening today? People are fearing death and poverty. It's coming true. So we need to help each other. And Bill, I hadn't had a chance to share with us. This weekend, I felt compelled. I'm doing a 6-week book study. There's no charge. There's a Facebook group called Crushing Fear by Outwitting the Devil. You're all invited to join. There's not a sales pitch. It's simply a group. In 4 days, we have 700 people as part of this Facebook group. And we kicked it off today, but next week we actually start the Bible study. Ooh, that was Freudian. The book study on understanding how to transform our fear to focus, how to turn that instead of being paralyzed by the fear to by the fear. And I'd love to have you come on one week and talk about it with us, Bill.
Yeah,
because I just
anything that's going on, you can always count me in. I love you, and I want to say thanks for jumping on. Keep up the great work, and thanks for plugging in tonight. It just goes to show everyone that's on this call tonight, this was not scheduled, this was not planned. You know, this just happened, right? But I think it's important that you know.
No, I actually.
What's that?
Yeah, I just opened my Facebook and scrolling down, and I see you, and it says Bill's live. Okay, here I am. I'm going to listen to Bill. It's all about power of association. We talk about that, and anytime I see Bill sharing his wisdom, I'm going to listen.
Well, at the end of the day, I've learned a lot from you, and we've been great friends now for almost 20 years, and I thank God for that. And anything you have going on, just like when you were having the launch for your book, Think Grows for Women, I said, let's throw a big party in Manhattan, and we did. And we had people come out from all over the country. Mark Victor Hansen showed up for the party. We had the folks from Napoleon Hill come out for the party. And that'll always be a great memory of how when you add value first, ask for nothing in return, the universe will yield you the greatest gifts in your life. And so once again, add value first, expect nothing in return. Watch the universe add so much value to your life. And Michelle, thanks for plugging in. Thanks for your comments on there. Sharon, I'll let you go. I've got one other special guest that I was texting him while we were doing this and said, hey, we're making this a little party tonight. And you might want to stay, but you'll be on the listen, but you can even stay in the meeting room if you want. But let me add this gentleman. He's one of my friends for 25 years. He's probably one of the sharpest guys you'll know when it comes to telling the story. We just finished a broadcast before this broadcast, and he has a heart of gold, a major heart of service, and just someone I love to work with. And I just thought it'd be great for the speakers on tonight. Please take a few notes on this, because I'm going to have him share with you the importance of telling your story. And it's really fun that James, and I'll let him tell the story, but he actually came through a number of our programs. He helped us build Power Team. Him and my son got into a negotiation, a negotiation 12 years ago. And my oldest son, Austin, and James had a great discussion while they were out shopping for cars. And I'd love for James to share that, but I'd like James to take a few minutes. And I want you guys all to take notes and invite people, because you will not catch this, right? But I want him to share with you how important it is to be able to tell your story from the stage as a speaker. And James works with a lot of our higher-end clients on how to really effectively tell that story. So with that, I'm gonna bring on my good friend, Mr. James Dentley. You're on, buddy. Go ahead and go. We got folks on from all over the country. About 50 or 100 of us on the stream. It's pretty cool. So I'll turn it over to you, and I'll step out for a second. James, you got to unmute yourself. James, you got to unmute yourself. So you're still on mute for some reason. Some reason you're muted. So I can hear what's the name perfect, but you're muted for some reason. That's okay. If they have technical difficulties at ESPN, we could have technical difficulties here. So don't let that stop you, right? Don't let that stop you at all. For some reason, we still can't hear you, James. Can you hear me or no? You can hear me. We just can't hear you. So is there something in your settings, Michael, that might be able to help him? Because it shows like he's live. Let me just try to unmute and see if that works. James, can you do it now? Still nothing on there?
James, you might want to just dial back in. Go ahead and go off and then come back.
I'll bring you right back on. We can try that again. And once again, I wanted to make this special time every week, so I'll bring guests on. I'll never announce who they are, but if they're on the stream or I can reach out to them, I'll call them out to help you understand that if you have a gift, if you have a message, if you have a story, please, and I'm talking right to you right now while you're at your desk or wherever you're sitting in bed, whatever it is, lounging or having dinner, that please bring your story to the market. The world deserves to hear your story. I think it's really sad that if you got something great, don't keep it to yourself. Don't take it to the grave. And let's see if we can get James to come back on. James, are you there?
I can hear you.
Hey, now we got you, buddy. So I gave you a nice introduction. I'll just turn it back over and let you share a bit of things we just talked about your fun discussion with my son and how you helped us build Power Team quite a bit, and also how you learned the process, but really how effective you are today at helping so many around the world become even more effective speakers by telling their story. I think everyone needs to listen to this tonight and learn and just take as many notes as you can right now. So, James, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, awesome. It's always a treat when great people meet. I'll tell you, I'm very honored to get a chance to get this impromptu, really quick call. And this story, I love to tell the story because it's so true and it's so incredible to me, because when I've been knowing Austin since he was a little bitty small kid. And I remember he was like 17. And Bill called me up and said, well, Austin wants to get a new car. Well, he wants to get a used car. That's what he said. And I used to have a car dealership. So I used to have a wholesale car license, and I would go out to the dealers' auctions and buy these cars for everybody. So we go out to the dealership, and Austin's picking out cars. And I said, no, your dad said you want to spend around $3,000. And he said, no, I want that car. I said, well, no, that's a $20,000 car. He said, well, I want that car. That's the car I want. I want you to get it. I said, well, if I get it, somebody has to pay for it. He said, don't worry about it. I got it. So I said, okay, fine. Knowing Bill was going to pay for the car anyway. So we bought this beautiful car. I think it was a Mustang. It was yellow with a black stripe down the middle. And we get the car. And then I said, okay, it's time to pay for the car. So we run to the bank, and Austin makes a phone call, and the teller comes out. The teller comes out and hands me a check. And I said, okay, what are you doing? Where are you getting this money from? He said, I work for my dad. I told you that. I said, I know you work for your dad, but what are you doing? See, I watched Bill build Power Team, but I used to own a network marketing company at the same time. So I was really busy doing what I was doing. And every time I wanted to come to a Rainmaker or to come to the different events, something happened. I didn't show up. And so I was never there. I was never present. And then Austin got in my face. And I've been knowing Austin again since he was a little bitty boy. He got in my face and he says, you always say you're going to come, but you don't come. I said, well, I'm coming this time. I told your dad I'll be there. He said, but you always say that. He said, you better come. And he looked at me, he walked into my face and said, you better come. And I said, now I wanted to laugh, but I knew he was serious, because that's not how he communicates to me. I'm Uncle James. So I said, I'm going to come. So I went out there to Las Vegas. I remember we flew out to Las Vegas, and I didn't know what to expect. And I got there on a Friday night in time for a team meeting. I remember Bill saying, tomorrow, James, why don't you kick us off for a little bit in the morning? I say, well, I don't know what you do. And Bill said, well, I know what you do. Just kick us off and just speak a little bit. Speak from your heart. I said, okay, how long do you want me to speak? He said, well, I'll tell you when to stop. So Saturday morning comes and I speak, and, they loved it. And I loved the engagement and the interaction with the people. And then he said, why don't you stick around and coach? I said, coach what? I don't know what you do. He said, well, you'll figure it out. Just stick around and coach. And, little did I know I was going to fall in love with it. I came from a network marketing background, and I would teach people how to speak and how to present and how to tell their story. But I had never, and I would be in front of rooms of 20, 25,000 people and do it all over the world with translators, but not in this space. And I didn't know how similar they were, but also there was a space for me outside of that. You see, sometimes we get kind of locked in and we conform to the environments that we're accustomed to. Like we always say, what you live, you learn, what you learn, you practice, and what you practice, you do become. So I want to thank Bill, because he opened up a world for me that now I would have never even dreamt the life I have right now, the relationships I have, the things we get a chance to do for my nonprofit, the people we get a chance to help and serve. And I serve Power Team very diligently, because I refuse, even as a speaker, even as a business person, I refuse to be there and act like I was special or I was better than everybody else. I like to work. I like to get in there and work. And I like to pay positive and put my head down and go to work and be unassuming. But it was a pleasure to serve Bill Walsh, because I was speaking with a gentleman, a friend of mine, James Wealthy in Dallas, Texas, who's serving Jeff Hoffman, a good friend of ours and a co-founder of Priceline.com. And he had a similar story of how he served Les Brown many years ago. And I said, you serve a man to become a man. So it definitely built me with character. It built me to have the servant's heart, but also as good as I was, there was still room for growth, and there was blind spots. And Bill was one of the out of everyone I've ever known, Bill, you have the ability to see things and to solve problems quickly and very effectively. You have that third eye, I would say, that is just able to be able to see and to help shape the future, but take present situations and make them work for anyone. And that's what makes you great when it comes to training your speakers and your entrepreneurs as well. So my hat's off to you, my friend. Well, let's talk about telling your story. Well, first of all, you know, we always say things like you tell a story to make a point, you make a point with a story. But stories always sell. You know, when you watch the news, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me? Okay. When you watch the news, they tell the news in stories. When you go to the movies, they sell you stories. But it's really about being totally authentic, being fully self-expressed, to understand that your life has meaning and your experiences, no matter how boring they may seem to you, will bless the lives and encourage other people who are in the audience who are listening to you. Because your story gives people access. As a matter of fact, your story allows people to go someplace within themselves that they cannot go by themselves. So you're talking about speaking and storytelling. What I like to always talk about is the psychology of it, but it's really about being totally honest, finding the power in the vulnerability, and to understand that when you use your voice with your story, then their voice is like the soundtrack to a movie. The script is a story, but that soundtrack creates the emotion within the story. And when you tell your story, you have to be very descriptive. That means you want to relive it. You want people to, if you're walking down the road in a cobblestone street, you want them to see the cobblestones. You want them to hear the leaves blowing across the ground, to see the overcast skies, to bring a person into that story so they live the story, so you attach the emotion. And then with that point, you get a chance not only to speak into their listening, but to speak inside of their nervous system, to create an impact that a person will never be the same because you shared your story. And sometimes you will share your story and would take away the excuses from other people. And they say, well, if he or she can go through that and they can stand here, then maybe I can make it as well. And I think that's how you give people permission to really to be able to succeed. Your story is your legacy. Your story lays the trail for the people who come to behind you to know your strengths, to know all the things that you've done, to know what your possibilities are, your thoughts, your dreams, and maybe some dreams that are not yet complete. So your children and grandchildren can pick up the mantle and know where to go. I think the biggest tragedy we have today is that people don't tell their stories. Why? Because maybe they don't think their life matters. Well, the one thing I have learned that all lives matter. As a matter of fact, many years ago, I was in a network marketing company in 1994. I stumbled upon it. Actually, I was coerced to go there. And the young presenter was 20 years old. I was 33. And this gentleman had got involved in that business. And this gentleman introduced another gentleman named Darren, who introduced a gentleman named Roderick, who introduced a young lady named Dora, who introduced Ken Robinson, who introduced me. Now, to show you how much life matters with every human being, if it wasn't for that young 20-year-old gentleman, you all would be doing something different right now because you could not be listening to me because I couldn't have been here. If everything had not unfolded the way it did, I could not be here. That means someone that you'll never know. I never mention his name. You'll never know, but he's impacted your lives and what you are doing right now actively because he lived. Because he lived. So who loses when we decide not to win? Who loses when we don't get out there and share our story? Sure, you'll understand things like Socrates, when he would say, Aristotle, ethos, logos, and pathos, the emotion, the logic and reasoning, and how to craft your message. You'll learn how to sell from the stage masterfully by being a part of the Platinum Speaker Program and the other speaker program that gives you an entry level to learning how to communicate on an honest level. Because when you know how to communicate and you understand the psychology there in your communication, then you become even more effective in everything you do. And every relationship you have is all going to be founded upon. The foundation of it will be the communication skills that you get. So I encourage people to invest in it, to learn how to tell your story. If you want to get an investor, you have to inspire that investor, and you need to inspire that person within the first 30 seconds, or you lost them. So you have to inspire them. How do you inspire them? Not telling them all the technical parts of what's important to you. Never let what you want to say get in the way what they need to hear. They want to become inspired. If you don't mind, I'm going to tell a really quick story of a gentleman who was driving a taxi cab. It's about 10:30 at night. He's been driving all day. He's tired, and he's about to go home. But he gets a call. He's not that far away. His first mind says, no, let's go home to the family. But his second mind says, let's go ahead and get a few more dollars. Let's go get it. So he takes the call, and he drives up on this dark street. On the corner, there's a store open where they're selling alcohol, and there's a lot of people outside of the store, and lights are out there. And he felt a little nervous because the rest of the block was completely dark. There were no lights on in the street. But he drives up anyway in front of the home, and he blows the horn kind of gently. He doesn't want to attract the attention from the people behind him, but he wants to get the attention of the people he's picking up. He blows the horn again. He decides he's going to drive off, but then a little voice says, no, go knock on the door. So he looks through his rearview mirror. He wants to make sure he's safe on this dark street. He gets out of this yellow cab, opens the door, and he closes it. He walks up these gray stone steps, 7 steps, one at a time, and he knocks on the door. In the shadows, through the door, he can see the outline, and it looked like it was a woman, and she was elderly. He can tell by the way she walked. He can see a bag on her hand through the silhouette, through the curtain on the window. She opens up the door. She says, young man, have you been waiting long? I'm so sorry. I just didn't hear you if you blew your horn, but I'm here now. Thank you so much. Thank you for waiting. So he's a little frustrated, but he says, that's no big deal, ma'am. Come on, let me escort you to the taxi. She locks the door. He takes her bag, and he grabs her by the arm, and they walk down each step, one step at a time, these gray stone steps. He gets to the door, and then he opens it up and allows her to get in, and he pushes the door closed. He walks on the other side. He opens up that door, and he throws the bag in the back seat. He gets in the front seat of the taxi behind the wheel. He adjusts his mirror back, and he drives off, and he says, where to? He says, well, I have a destination in mind, but can you first take me downtown? I so love the Lake Michigan. I just want to go past downtown, and I'll give you the directions from there. So he starts driving towards Chicago Loop. We call that's our downtown area. He gets down on Lakeshore Drive, and she's looking out the window, and I can see the lights as they shine and they reflect off of the window, and they're just zipping past those lights. She looks and she sees the lake and the glow of the moon and the lights shining from the lake. And she said, oh, I just love this city. He says, okay, ma'am, where's your destination? He said, well, I want to stop by my church. He says, well, lady, it's 11 o'clock at night. Yes, but please, I want to go by my church. It's on 43rd in Princeton. So yes, ma'am. Now he's past that church already to go downtown, but he drives around. He takes her to the church, and it's completely black. There's nobody there. Says, ma'am, there's no one here. She says, yes, but I grew up in this church. I love being here. My husband, he died many years ago, and we love being here. And all the people we knew grew up in this church. Says, young man, here's the piece of paper, and I'll give you the address where I need to go to. And he says, ma'am, are you sure? You run me all around the city. He says, I really apologize. The fact of the matter is, tonight I'm checking myself in a hospice. I'm never going home. I lost my husband. I lost my children. There's no one left with me. And I wanted to see the city one more time and the church that I grew up in. So now he totally had a shift in his heart and his spirit, a lump in his throat, and the heaviness that was in his gut. And he drove. He didn't know really what to say, and he made a little small talk. And he drives up to the address, and there's a clinic. And there's double doors, and he could see the outline of someone through the second door. So he gets out, and he opens up the back door, grabs her bag. He walks around, and he helps her out of the taxi. He looks at the older woman and said, do you mind if I walk you in? And she said, young man, that would be nice. So they walk towards the door, and the door opens. And then he gets to the second door, and the door opens. And there's a counter, and there's a nurse that's waiting for her. And he heard the second door close. And he said it was if the door was closing on a life that would never open again. And the lady greeted the elderly woman, and he said, "Do you mind if I give you a hug?" She said, "Please do. I would really love that." And he gives her this great embrace. And then with a tear sitting on the corner of his eye, he turns around as she's being escorted back to the wheelchair that would roll her back to her final room. He goes back out the door. Second door. He's a little stoic. He sits in his taxi cab. He's kind of out of breath. And he sits there, and he puts his hand on his wheels, and he begins to weep. And he says, "My God, what if I didn't take the call? What if I would have gone home? What if she would have got someone that didn't have the patience and would have left and wouldn't have waited for her, or became rude with her because she took them to these different destinations? What if I didn't have the mindset? What if I wasn't in this place? I could be here." And he just began to cry. And he went home and told his wife and his family about what had happened. And for that day on, he was forever thankful. When you tell a story, you want to tell a story where you can take a person on a ride into that story, to give that story meaning. When you tell a story, whether you're selling or your point of view or a program or product, or you're selling yourself or selling your idea, you want to tell the story in a manner where you can paint a picture and draw a picture and bring that person into that picture, because ultimately they're going to enroll in you. When you tell a story, your children will remember the lessons you want to teach them more readily. When you tell a story, it will anchor, and then you can tie back other situations in life back to that story, and those stories will be eternal. When you tell a story, your story, then you live forever because of the people that you touch. Most people I talk to, they don't know who their great-great-great-grandparents are. And if we don't tell our story, your great-great-grandchildren won't remember you. But if we do, we can create a legacy and create a pathway that will lead them to a brighter future because they know who they are and where their place is in the world. Telling the story is your power. That's your access. And Hans Christian Andersen, most people don't remember him, the shoe cobbler where every kids would gather around. He would tell them stories. And the wonder sparks the imagination. They started doing this around the campfire. Before we had television and cable, before we had black and white TV, when I was a kid, they would sit around the radio. Before that, they would sit around the fire. And all they would do was tell stories. And those stories would empower, enlighten, and impact an entire tribe for generations, generations, and generations on to the future. That's how you tell it, Bill.
Hey, buddy, listen, man, I love you, and I want to say thanks for jumping on. We've had a very busy night tonight. This was not planned at all, you guys. I just thought that when I started seeing some other folks pop into the call, to have Sharon Lecter jump on and give you guys some insights and wisdom, it's priceless, you know. I don't think it gets any better than this. And James, I know you've been through our Platinum program a number of times. I just want to get quickly your feedback of how important the Rainmaker and the Platinum program made a difference in your business.
Wow. Well, the Rainmaker, first of all, because it's going to open up the door for so much information and how you really put it together. And because you get to come back again for the year, you're going to meet and create the most incredible relationships. But you got a lot of information, and sometimes somebody can give you a recipe, but you have to play with it a few times, and then you learn it like the back of your hand. And then you want to serve and be a part of the Rainmaker, the Power Team family. And then you can learn and experience it from a different angle. The Platinum Speaker Camp is really about taking your skills, what you believe in, what you do well, and understand that you can monetize it. That you can monetize that by creating value for people, because everyone's an expert at something that you do really, really well. And Bill has this gift to be able to take your life's work, even if you're great at organization, you're great at raising kids, whatever you do well, he can take that, show you how to package that, and then communicate that, and then the psychologies of how to go out and market that, and go out there and make anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000, and even more than that in 90 minutes. It's insane. But more importantly, that you've impacted lives, you've created a community, and you're going to make a tremendous amount of money because of the lives that you will impact. And then you impact people that they'll keep impacting more. And then you go from financial independence to significance. So I endorse both of these programs. As a matter of fact, I shut down everything I was doing to promote those programs, because when you have the best in front of you, why try to recreate it? Why spend your time competing when you can go out there and just promote and help people? So everybody needs to go to Rainmaker without a shadow of a doubt. And if you're willing to speak and you believe in yourself, and even if you don't, you keep going until you do. Bill will show you how to craft that message. And there's nothing better to build your confidence in what you do than seeing a lot of people run back and to pay you for your life's work and your life experience, and then thank you because you delivered the results on the back end.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you, man. I'll let you go. Thanks so much. I've got one very special guest on I want you to hear from. I'm going to bring him on in a second. Obviously, and guys, if you love what James was talking about, just put a number 1 down there. Put a 1 in your comment box. We're going to finish here in about 20 minutes. I hope this has been really helpful for you tonight. I see that almost everyone that logged in stayed on, so share it. It'll be on my page for a couple days to share it. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring on a special guest. It looks like I got one other guest. But I want to bring on a special guest. Oh, no, they're doing cooking here. Anyway, let me bring this guy on. This is a great friend that literally has changed the universe for tens of thousands of people, millions of people. He is someone I have the utmost respect for as a speaker, trainer, coach, been my mentor for a long time. And I wanted to share what it's like to speak on the big stage and really share your message, but move people to take action. With that, I'll bring on Mr. Errol Abramson. Come on, Errol. Come on, buddy.
Hey, Bill, how are you? What's this? Are we having a fire drill?
I wanted to share what it's like to speak on the big stage and really share your message, but move people to take action. With that, I'll bring on Mr. Errol Abramson. Come on, Errol. Come on, buddy.
Hi, Bill. How are you? You know, what's this? Are we having a fire drill? I'm hearing this in the background, part of the introduction, maybe. But we met when I was doing things on the big stage. Hi, Bill. How are you? You know, are we having a fire drill? I'm hearing this in the background, part of the introduction, maybe. But we met when I was. Can you hear me now, Bill?
Your Facebook. If you turn off your Facebook, it'll be perfect. I wanted you to share for a guy that's built so many mega companies and had a lot of success. For the individuals listening today, what it's like to speak on the big stage. And of course, I'd love you to share your Rainmaker experience, and you've been on a number of our stages already, but really what it's like to speak on that big stage and move people to take action. This is a question I got a lot of times is, when you're on the stage, how do you move people to take all-out massive action? And I know you've talked about this for years, so I'd love you to just take a few minutes and share some of that with our listeners all over the country. Thanks so much.
All right, Billy. Listen, I've got to say something first, Bill. You are one of the most tremendous opportunists I know of. I jumped on to check my mail, and I'm on a podcast or whatever we're doing. So you are the supreme opportunist, and I admire you tremendously. One of the things is that I believe in a cause. I got involved in a lot of businesses that were cause-oriented, and we took them to the cause more than just a business to make money. For instance, my vitamin business, I wasn't interested in selling vitamins. I was interested in doing programs for people that came through the door. There was plenty of places you could buy a vitamin. You didn't have to buy them from me. So I had to do something that was different from the other people in the business. The biggest guys in the business that had the most shelf space, that were selling the most vitamins, were the mainstream market grocery stores and drugstores. And I wanted to compete with them. Well, their bottles didn't talk, but my people talked. So what we did is we found out what you wanted. We qualified you and found out what you wanted out of a vitamin program, and then designed a vitamin program for you. The same thing with Rainmaker. When I've gotten involved with the Rainmaker, I believe, and this is an honest belief, that the next generation, the millennium's children, are going to be a pivotal generation that is going to change the world. And I believe that the more independence and entrepreneurialism that is taught to that generation, give me a generation of children and I will change the world. And that is what has happened. When I go on a big stage, I want to impact. I want to have something to share with people that they can walk away with that day and make a difference. In other words, I want to give you something to use. I've been utilizing this downtime. As you notice, Bill, I haven't shaved. I'm taking a shave vacation. And I've been using this to re-educate myself towards this Rainmaker program that I want to do. And when I found out what the statistics were, and I could share statistics with people and get them driven towards one thing, and one thing most important is that every one of us has a contribution. Every one of us can make a difference. I have found the power of one is unbelievable. And one of my businesses is changing the world one entrepreneur at a time. You know, I had a chance to work with you 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago now, Bill, and we worked on the things we're working on today. Once I found the formula for my businesses, I was able to change things, and I was able to develop that attitude of adversity. And I welcome adversity, because through adversity, you can find things. And the old story is, if your goals and desires, if what you want is stronger than the adversity that you'll face, and you will face adversity, then you'll be successful. And I'm not worried in the least with what's going on today. This has created many opportunities for me. And my speaking on the big stage, now I use the internet and I share my message. You know, see the people, tell the story. See the people, tell the story. There's more opportunity now during this coronavirus scare than I have experienced before in my life. February, when the virus was at its highest, was my biggest earning month ever in my life, Bill. And here I am at 70 years old, retired, and I saw an opportunity and jumped in at it, and it paid off tremendously. And
wait a second. I thought you were 70 years young.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
Just making sure. Just
you do have a way of throwing people off their pace. Now, if I did this to you while you were on the stage, you would bite my head off. So I'm not going to. I'm going to thank you for that. And I'm 70 years young. Thank you. My birthday's May 30th, and presents are welcome. You know, if you have a story to tell, and you do, then tell it. I've got clients right now, and it's see the people tell the story. And there's plenty of business going on now. You don't have to watch for it. And you know the big key thing? One of the big key things is, I feel that small business, and I'm talking about all of us that are in small business, and I have a small business now. EDI is Entrepreneurial Development Institute. It's a small business. You know, I'll do hopefully $500,000 this year. You know, and it's a very different business for me. I've never run a business like this before. And I was complacent when I started, and now I'm motivated because I found a cause. Small business makes up 70% of the economy in the world. It employs 70% of the economy in the world. Small business in some countries makes up 85% of the gross national product of that country. That's how important and that's how valuable small business is. But when you look at the statistics of failure, that I don't like. That I'm a little appalled at. And that is one of the reasons for joining Bill in the Rainmaker program, because I know that half of those businesses that are failing because of lack of structure, lack of coaching, lack of not understanding what to do with a problem. When you have a problem, it could be an opportunity. And it might take somebody with some experience to help you. And this is the one thing that we want to do and with the Rainmaker program is minimize small business failure. In other words, give business, small business, a place to go so that it can develop itself and be successful. You got a problem, you go to the Rainmaker. And Rainmaker is going to be the international or the global answer to small business failure. And then what we want to do is we want to create 100 million club with small business and people that support the idea that children of the millennial generation be entrepreneurs. And we want to create that entrepreneurial attitude throughout the world. Now, can you imagine this? Through the Rainmaker program, if you can develop a place where small business comes and doesn't fail, and we change the statistic. Right now, the statistic is 50% of small businesses fail at 18 months. And then the balance of 90% fail at 3 years. One of the big issues with this is, do you have a concept that you're working on, or do you really have a business? And there's a lot of people out there selling conceptual programs, Bill, and you know this for a fact. You and I talked about it. And these are big, powerful people, and they're making tremendous amount of money saying that you have knowledge. You build yourself a concept, and then you'll start making money. And some people do. And then they don't know how to run a business. And what happens to them? They hit the graveyard. They fail. Now, I found that out because I'm 47 and 0. Until I started working with Rainmaker, I didn't know there was failure in business. I've never failed because I've learned to overcome adversity. I've learned that creativity is the source of options. And there's always an option and a way to get yourself out of something. And if you're having problems, then you need a place to go to get the answers. And Rainmaker, I believe, is going to be the answer globally.
Hey, buddy, I love you, man, and thanks for jumping in so last minute. I know I just seen you texting me or messaging me on Facebook. I said, hey, you got a minute? You're like, yeah, I'll be there. And guys, you may not understand this, but the person you're learning from is someone that literally has played in the $1 billion club with multiple businesses. Not his first rodeo. He's run companies around the world, mega businesses, and I'm honored to have him as a great friend, as a mentor, and someone that I've now brought on some national stages. I've really brought him out of retirement. And I love it. So thanks for being on. Thanks for being on tonight, Errol, and thanks for sharing the message. I got to just jump this call quickly to New York for a second.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Bill. Goodbye.
Love you, buddy. Thanks. Hey, just stay in the meeting room for a second. Hang on. I want to bring the call to New York for one last minute. I want to share with you a guy that is already brilliant in his own space in the corporate America. He's semi-retired at a very young age, and now he's launching programs to help entrepreneurs all over the world. And I just want him to come on just for a minute and share with you some of the gifts that he's bringing in. And I want you to know this, that as you see this tonight, I want you to think about how awesome it would be for you to be on this call, for you to be on this stream and share these messages, because I think everyone has a story. And if I can be a mouthpiece for a million entrepreneur story, let's go after it. So let me take the call to New York, and let me bring on Lamont. Are you there with us today? Let me see if I can bring Lamont into the call. Lamont, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine, man. Thanks so much for plugging in. Just share quickly. We only got a few minutes left, but share quickly a bit of your story and how inspired you are to take your message to the country, because I know this is all brand new for you.
Yeah, thanks. Well, just want to first thank you, Bill, for inviting me here. We were meeting earlier, and I think as a few of the other guests have shared, Bill has this great way of just allowing everybody to share their message, which is something that I'm super inspired to even be a part of the Power Team in that way. But just a little bit about me. I was working in financial services for the better part of 18 years. And like many people in the world, I bought into the idea of go to a great school, work really hard, and all will be provided for. That changes, and during economic downturns like this and other things, experienced 2 different times when I was laid off and realized that I needed a different way. And after the second layoff, after the first layoff, I knew that I needed a different path, and really got focused on how could I create my own financial independence and well-being, and got out of debt, then focused on developing new and passive income streams so that I wasn't going to be beholden to my corporate job. And fast forward to 2018, really kind of took a semi-retirement, or really wanted to enjoy life, reset, so I can get focused again. And, you know, things like this, and even before this, actually, I just wanted to be able to give back, right? Because I knew that if I had a roadmap, or if I had just known other people that had taken a different path to kind of create their own freedom in life, that could be something that could be powerful for other people to have and to share. So actually, I was just in the Rainmaker class back in March 16th, right? So only a few weeks ago. And I think that was when the day that we landed in Miami was the day that the president had announced a national emergency. And so to think about the transition that I've been able to actually create within the business, and the momentum that I've been able to make by coming on Digital Summit, and really getting my voice and my message out to more people, just trying to help other people create a little bit of freedom now. In times like this, really emphasize the importance of having a multi-tiered strategy to have your own financial independence and well-being. So that's just a little bit about me and some of the programs that I've been able to create. Any other questions in particular, Bill, that you'd like me to talk through? Looking in the comments.
A bit of how important is it to your story nationwide. That's all.
Oh, okay, yeah. So giving a little bit of perspective in terms of the national stages and getting further out there. I had been conducting small seminars, probably for 15, 20 people in a room, and realized that I wasn't getting my message out to as many people as I would like to. It became I became painfully aware that I just needed to get more people to hear what the power of debt freedom could mean to their life. Like, what if you didn't have to worry about paying almost a mortgage and student loans and everything else? Like, what could you do with that freedom, right? And so just by getting more people involved and actually just having more people enrolled in my program and seeing success, I think that actually what made me be more committed to letting more people experience what I have to offer. Right. So when you know that a single mother now doesn't have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck because she's saving $300 a month, right, on interest expenses, small things like that are really the big difference.
Listen, my good friend, I just want to say thanks so much, and I'm excited to work with you. I knew the first time we met in New York, and you committed to Rainmaker and going national and platinum speaker program, and your story is so big, and it you know. Obviously, all your college degrees is one thing, but your heart is where your greatest strength lies. So, once again, everybody, I want to thank you guys for plugging in tonight. I just want to post, thanks everybody, and I want to say thanks again, Lamont. But let me just finish up this by just giving you guys a little quick place you can go to be a part of our event tomorrow. I am so new at this digital stuff, but we're getting better every day. So, you know, I just had my friend John Astroff was texting me. He said, "Well, how do you put those little things on the screen right there?" And I said, "I'll share with you tomorrow." So, you know, it's okay. You know, you can make mistakes all the way through, and every day you'll get a bit better. So Errol, Sharon, Michael, everyone that's been on the call tonight, James Dentley, my good friend, thanks for plugging in. And for all the folks out there, Eric Dooley, for all your great comments, and Michelle Finnegan and Cheryl Brenner. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, go see the link that's on there for tomorrow's event. And if you are serious about speaking on stage, just text the word platinum to 26786. Text the word platinum to 26786. And thanks, everyone. This broadcast is officially over right on time. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye now.